Hi class, it's Mrs. Washburn. Today our lesson is all about fonts using Google Docs. So the font is the way that typed words look. So we have the ability to change fonts, and it's almost like your own handwriting is your own individual font, just like no one has the same handwriting. We have a lot of font choices when we're on the computer because they represent different things for us. So some of them are fancy, some of them are simple, some of them are in cursive, some are big and bold. I'll show you what I mean. And we have all those options when we're using Google Docs, which is really cool. So not only can we change the way that the words look, but we can also do things like underline them, bold them, change the color. So I just had to highlight some words. If you want to change the font, you have to first highlight the words that you want to have changed. So my piece of advice for this is that you always start at the beginning of the sentence or the end of the line in order to get all of it. Because if I had started, let's say, in the middle, I can't get the whole line highlighted. I can only get one side or the other, so I need the whole thing. So I highlighted that line. Now I'm going to come up here because this is the font drop-down menu and click the little arrow next to it, and you can see how these different fonts look a little bit different when we're looking at them. So I'm going to choose one that's going to change it kind of a lot. So that's like a thick, bold font called Impact, and it really changes the way that that line looks. All right, so your job as we go through this lesson is to complete each line has some instructions. So you're going to complete what they do, what they say. So this one says underline the word font anywhere you see it on this page. So to do that, you need to highlight the word font, and then the underline tool is right here, and it looks like a little U and it's underlined. So all you have to do is click on it and it will underline font. Oh, and I see font again in this line, and I see font again in this line, and here, here, and we can't forget it in that title line. So now I've done what that said. Underline the word font anywhere you see it on this page. The next line says change the font on this line to Arial. So I clicked on the little drop down, and there it is. So it's in alphabetical order, and it starts with an A, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. A-R-I-A-L. So now I changed it. When you look at these lines, it doesn't look all that different between like the second, the third, and the fourth if we look at them, but it is just enough different. Like look, the letter G looks different. This one has a little loop underneath, and this one's just like a normal G that we would write. So that's an example of how fonts kind of change like our handwriting does. Okay, the next line says change the font color on this line to red. So I highlight it again. You'll get really good at highlighting by the end of this lesson. And then our text colors or our font colors are up here, and there's a drop down. So I click on the little arrow, and it said to highlight or to change the font color to red. So I'm going to choose red. I could choose one of these reds too if I wanted, the dark reds, but I'll go with this one. Now the next line says change the font on this line to size 24. So our sizes are in between. So here was our font, here was our font color, the sizes are in the middle. So you can either type in 24 if you wanted to get rid of that 16, or you can look for it in the drop-down menu. So if it was 16 before and we increased it to 24, it should have gotten big. And it did. So your last bit of instructions is to make this line any color, font, and size you want, and then save your work. Luckily, when we are in Google Docs, all we have to look for is it says all changes saved in Drive, and then you're good to go. So your job is to follow all of those instructions, and then you're finished with the assignment. Ask the teacher if you have any questions. Otherwise, you may go ahead and begin.